First of all, I apologize for the pronunciation errors, as English is not my native language. A company from beyond the grave. Martina Villarreal used to get up very early to go to work. She was a worker in a well-known ceramic factory in her city. Her routine was almost always the same. The penetrating and scandalous sound of the alarm clock woke her up at 5 in the morning, and after yawning and waking up, she would get out of bed to prepare her breakfast and get ready for the day's work. She would then pray to God and make the walk from her house to the bus stop in front of the municipal cemetery. But that particular morning, Martina had not noticed that, for some strange reason, her alarm clock had gone off earlier that morning. After hearing it, she simply got out of bed and followed her usual routine. There was nothing strange. The full moon that the woman contemplated through the open kitchen window while preparing breakfast was brighter than ever, which even made her believe that it was already about to dawn, and therefore she was late. So she hurried up and left the house, heading for the bus stop as usual. Outside, everything was so quiet that Martina even thought it was so late that everyone had already left for work. In that street, only her footsteps accompanied the typical sound of the early morning. "I forgot my watch," complained the woman as she hurried her pace. She didn't like the idea of being alone in the middle of that street, as she could be an easy prey for a thief. Finally, Martina arrived at the bus stop and naturally found it deserted. This fact began to disconcert, but she could do nothing about it, except looking at the sky to contemplate the full moon. "I don't understand," she said. "Why does it take so long for the sun to rise? If only I knew what time is it." Not only there was nobody apart from her at that bus stop, but there was not even a sign of a bus, which made Martina even more disconcerted. 10 minutes later, as she was about to move to another bus stop, she heard a slow footstep behind her. And when she turned around, she saw that it was an old woman. This made her desist from leaving. At last, she had found company. The woman was approaching slowly because her advanced age only allowed her to take short steps. When the old woman finally arrived next to Martina, she could observe her in detail. She was a frail-looking old lady. The long, pale fingers of her left hand closed in the grip of a cane. She was wearing a very long white dress, a purple shawl woven over her shoulders, and a kind of veil over her head. Martina was not surprised by the woman's appearance, since usually the old women she knew wore a veil like that to church very early in the morning. So when the old lady stood next to her, she just thought she would talk to her to try to kill time while her bus arrived. "Good morning, ma'am," she greeted her in a friendly voice. Martina waited for the woman to respond, but she only bowed slightly in response. She couldn't even see her face, as the woman was looking down at the floor. However, Martina noticed that the old woman put a hand to her forehead, as if she felt a pain in that area of her face. "I've been standing here for more than 10 minutes, but I haven't seen any bus pass by," the woman spoke again, receiving only a nod from her companion, who again put a hand to her forehead, as if she was trying to mitigate the pain. Are you all right, madame?" Martina asked again, beginning to worry, but nothing could ever prepare her for that strange and terrifying answer. The old lady finally raised her head up to look at her. And then Martina could see her cold, whitish eyes and a disconcerting smile. "Yes, I'm fine, daughter, but look how I hurt my head on my way out of the grave." Immediately, a sense of horror came over Martina as she watched the woman approach her while limping. She had let go of the cane to touch the bleeding wound of her forehead. "No! Don't come closer! Please, my God! Look how I hurt my head on my way out to the grave," the old woman repeats over and over again. Fortunately, Martina saw a bus approaching, which was the private transportation for the ceramic factory workers going to the first turn, the early turn. So she moved her arms desperately to make a stop, and once it did, she quickly got on. "What happened to you, miss?" asked one of the workers. "The old woman," Martina answered while pointed throughout the window. "She was hurt. She told me that. Where is she? She was there until a moment ago. It can't be possible." "Calm down. We know. It's natural. That old lady usually shows up here at this hour," replied the man, pointing his finger at the cemetery behind the bus stop. "What time is it?" Martina asked, wiping away her tears. She was shaking. 3:00 in the morning, replied the man. In fact, Martina had gotten out of bed well before the correct times, and for that reason she had arrived at just the right time to receive the visit of the strange companion from beyond the grave.